Hey Pokefam, if you're new here, my name is Pokecords, and a few months ago, you guys might have seen me compete in our very first league night at our local game shop. And if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna link the video right below. Stop here and go watch it. Please. It's pretty good. My daughter was actually kind of jealous. I felt really bad. She wants to also compete in her first league night. She would be a junior competitor. We got the Marnie's Morpeko deck, you know, that really cool promo one that I wanted, but I did get it for my daughter. And we're going to be upgrading that deck today so that she can compete in her very first league night. So if you guys are ready, I'm ready. Let's get started. Alright, so as you guys can see here, I've kind of laid out the entire deck so that you can see what it consists of. It looks like we have 14 dark energies right here, and then our main attacker is going to be that Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. So I know it's called the Marnie's Morpeko deck, but Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX is going to be like the highlight of this deck and the main attacker. So you can see we have 4 of the basic Impotent, 3 Morgrim, which is like that stage 1, and 2 of the Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. And then we have 2 of Marnie's Morpeko, 1 regular, and then that promo art rare. It's kind of the reason I wanted this deck. It's such a sick promo. She really loves playing with this deck, but she did request that we upgrade it so that it is a little bit more fun to play with and a little bit more competitive, and can't say no to that. We do have 2 of the Marnie's Purloin, which is the basic, and 2 of Marnie's Liepard, which is at stage 1. 2 of Marnie's Scraggy, which is a basic, and 1 of Marnie's Scrafty, which is the stage 1. This is the stadium that the deck comes with, which is Spikemuth Gym. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a Marnie's Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into their hand. Then that player shuffles their deck. Obviously very good for a Marnie's deck. We have 4 of the Ultra Balls, which you have to discard 2 cards from your hand, and you can search for any Pokemon in your deck. We have 3 of the Buddy Buddy Poffins, which allows you to search your deck for 2 Pokemon with 70 HP or less that have to be basic, which is great because a lot of these, you can see Impotent, Purloin, Scraggy, and Morpeko are all 70 HP or less. Switch, which you can switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. I believe there's only 1 tool in here, and there's only 1 copy of it, so I believe she was requesting more tools. But this one is Experience Share. When your active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, you may move a basic energy from that Pokemon to the Pokemon this card is attached to. Okay. It works, but it's not the best tool in the world. These pre-constructed decks are not supposed to be the best decks in the world. They are supposed to be really like, the basic layout of a deck. They do come in levels, and I believe this is a level 3 because it comes with, multiple EXs. But still not, competition level. You do need to upgrade, which is what we're doing right now. We do have 4 copies of Professor's Research, which is when you don't like your hand, you discard your hand and draw 7 cards, which is pretty good and very helpful. 2 of the Boss's Orders, which is my daughter's favorite card. She loves that card. She sees it and she's like, I am ordering you. Switch in 1 of your opponent's Pokemon to the active spot and switch it out. Iono, you have 2 copies of that, which is a supporter, and each player shuffles their hand and puts it at the bottom of their deck, and then they draw as many cards as they have prizes. 3 copies of the supporter Drayton, which is look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal a Pokemon and a trainer card you find there and put them into your hand and shuffle the other cards back into your deck. with 3 copies of that. 1 Super Rod. Shuffle up to 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard into your deck, which I think is very helpful. Energy Recycler. Shuffle up to 5 basic energies from your discard into your deck. And lastly, 3 copies of Rare Candy, where you can skip the Stage 1 evolution and go straight to Stage 2. But in this deck, although this is the main attacker, we only have 1 evolution line that has a Stage 2 that can even use Rare Candy. One of the things that we noticed is my daughter was having a really, really tough time getting out Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. Partly because she always wanted to use Morgrem and Impidimp as her active Pokemon, and so it would constantly get knocked out, and she didn't even have the chance to evolve it. So we did talk about that. But we do want to give her a little bit more of a chance to get Grimmsnarl EX out, because not only is he a great attacker, and he's an EX, but he has this really cool ability called Punk Up. And the ability is when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 5 basic dark energy cards and attach them to your Marnie's Pokemon in any way that you like. Then shuffle your deck. That is huge. That is huge energy acceleration. We love this. And since this is a Marnie's deck, all of these are Marnie's Pokemon. That's great. You can just choose who you want to put your dark energies on. Well, number 1, you're going to want at least 2 on the Grimmsnarl EX, so he can use his Shadow Bullet, which is great. The other one you're going to want to put on is Marnie's Morpeko, because its attack is called Spiky Wheel. You need 3 colorless energies, so you don't even need dark, but this attack does 40 more damage for each dark energy attached to this Pokemon. So if you have 3 of them are dark, 40, 80, 120, plus 20, 140 damage just for having 3 dark on there instead of a random type. That's pretty good for 70 HP. So the deck itself is actually pretty decent. It has a lot of item cards. You don't want too many supporters because you can only use 1 supporter per turn, but you can use as many item cards as you like. Some of my daughter's complaints or things she would like improved. 1, Mommy, why are there not enough EXs in here? I want more EXs. So we're going to try and give her some more EXs in this deck. 2, she does not like how many times she pulls Professor's Research. It is a very, very handy card. However, she thinks there are too many copies in there and she wants them out. So we're going to probably take out about 2 of those Professor's Researches and substitute them for something else. We don't want too many cards in here that are not Marnie's cards because a lot of them work together as Marnie's cards. However, there are other cards that could support this deck, make it more competitive, or at least make it a little bit more fun to play with. Now, like I said, it's pretty well constructed, but the other thing she wants is more Pokemon tools. She would like more Pokemon tools. This is the only one she has. She doesn't like it very much. It could be handy, but I get what she means. It's just not that exciting. So I have taken out some other cards that hopefully will be able to help her in upgrading this deck. Now, like I said, we're going to junior league, or we're going to regular league, but she's a junior, so she'll be competing against juniors and regular adults. But she holds her deck in this little Espeon, Galarian Ponyta, and Gengarten. I know, there's deck boxes, but this is what she likes, and that's totally fine with me. So she has her Marnie's coin, right on. She also has her dice, more dice in there. And then she also has like a little starter mat so she can remember where everything goes. She's pretty certain she is an expert by now, so she doesn't need to, but Marnie's deck came with this, and I thought this was really cool. So it's a little like half sheet tells you where the active spot is, your bench, it's got Marnie and Grimmsnarl on there, your deck, your discard, and where your prize cards are. So this is really cool when you're on the go, but she does use a playmat because she wants to be legit. So I know as kids, they always had the commercials on, you know, in the 90s and early 2000s. They're like, let your kid play in League, and your parent never let you do it. I will be the parent that lets my kid do it. So I have gotten some cards out that we can hopefully use to upgrade this deck. She had 2 cards that I liked in her own personal collection. Number 1 is Latias EX. Ability is your basic Pokemon in play have no retreat cost. This I know is used a lot in the Pikachu deck, but this could be really, really handy here because she has a lot of basic Pokemon in this deck. It's a ton of basic Pokemon. Like I said, she only has a couple of stage 1s and only one type of stage 2. So this could be really helpful. Also is a stadium. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic Pokemon that does not have a rule box and put it on their bench. Because her deck is so heavy on non-EXs, this could actually be really, really helpful, and I'm pretty sure she wants to upgrade her deck with a gold card. That would be pretty sick, right? So these are 2 contenders that we might want to put in there. She does need those like utility cards, and we may want to switch out some of these like item and supporter cards. So one of the first things we have here is another Grimmsnarl EX. She did want a 3rd one because she was having such a tough time at bringing them out. So we have to remember that a deck is 60 cards. So when we put one in, we have to take one out. We will probably just be putting them to the side of what we think is going to be going in, and then we'll count up to 60 at the end, hopefully. Another card she really wanted was an ace spec. There are multiple ace specs that can work in this deck. The tricky part about ace specs is, number 1, they don't make them anymore. Like, the sets don't come with ace specs anymore. However, they are still playable and in rotation. So they're these shiny hot pink looking cards. You can only have 1 in your deck. And this one specifically is Prime Catcher. This one works in like any deck ever. Switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot, and if you do, switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. This is great because it acts like a boss's order, like a double boss's orders, and that's her favorite card. That would be fantastic. However, I do think there's another ace spec that might work better for this deck, and I'll tell you why in a minute. The other one I really like for this deck is Monkey Dory. The only problem I have with Monkey Dory is that she has to remember on her own. This is not a digital thing. She has to do this herself while she's at League. She has to remember at Pokemon Checkup to put 3 damage counters from one of her Pokemon to her opponent's Pokemon every time. That is a lot for an 8-year-old to remember. It's difficult. But it could look really, really well in this deck because although it's a psychic Pokemon and it uses psychic energy, if the Pokemon has any dark energy attached, you may move 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. I think this is super, super helpful, and she really likes it. We just have to hope that she remembers. I will personally be there helping her at League, but I won't be forever, so I think Monkey Dory would be really, really helpful in this case. And normally we don't use Monkey Dory as an attacker. We keep him on the bench. So I think 2 copies of him would be fantastic. This one's one of the trick-or-trade ones. And everyone thought the trick-or-trades weren't going to be helpful in life. All right. The other one we have, this is a really, really popular and good utility card, is going to be the Pheasantipity, and its ability, Flip the Script, again, something you hold on your bench. Once during your turn, if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you may draw 3 cards. You can't use more than one Flip the Script ability each turn. So, this one is super popular, very competitive, works all the time, and it's really good, especially for this type of deck where she has a lot of basic Pokemon that can get knocked out very easily, and she's trying to find those cards in order to progress. So I feel like Pheasantipity would be a really good addition to this deck, especially because she wants more EXs. It's a good contender. The other one I have, which personally I like, but I don't know if it'll work for this deck, and I really don't think it'll work for her because it's Cleffa. And Cleffa's super cute and can be really good in decks. However, she has a mess of really little baby basic Pokemon with very low HP, and Cleffa is not going to help. So Cleffa only has 30 HP, so an easy knockout, but it has Grasping Draw. You don't need any energy, and it's draw cards until you have 7 cards in your hand. That's fantastic in a normal deck, but this deck is super basic heavy, already going to be kind of sacrificing Pokemon in order to accelerate your other Pokemon. So while Cleffa is great in most decks, I don't think she's going to help us in this one. So we're actually going to put her over here on the side. Lily's Clefairy. I do really like this one, and I think it'd be really helpful. It's just which Pokemon do we want to put in here? So for Lily's Clefairy, its ability is fantastic, and in the meta, so those very popular decks that you see all the time, there are a lot of Dragon Pokemon. Dragon Pokemon in TCG have no weakness. So its ability, Fairy Zone, the weakness of each of your opponent's Dragon Pokemon is now Psychic. Well, now the Dragon Pokemon have a weakness. And then it would use its attack, Full Moon Rondo. This attack does 20 more damage for each benched Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's. So you're counting up your benched Pokemon and your opponent's, and you can have 5 on each. That's could be 10. And then 20 times 100, that's 200 plus the 20, 220 damage for 2 energy. Fantastic. You need a Psychic and a Colorless. That could be a Dark. You've got plenty of Dark energy here. We do need to add, though, a Psychic energy and or one of those special energies that you can use for, like, anything. If we use Lily's Clefairy, I would also need to debate on whether we're going to use 1 or 2. I know most competitive decks only use 1, but I'm one of those people that, like, what if it's at my prizes? I need 2. So we'll decide that. Okay, so another utility card that could be helpful, but not my personal favorite, is Squawkabilly EX. He has the ability Squawk and Seize. Once during your first turn, only on the first turn, you may discard your hand and draw 6 cards. You can't use more than one Squawk and Seize ability during your turn. This card is in so many meta decks, I don't see the point. There are many trainers that do the exact same thing. And if you don't use Squawkabilly, if you don't find Squawkabilly on your first turn, he's basically pointless for the rest of the game. So, not my personal favorite, but a lot of people do use these for utility cards. Do I think this would be great for my daughter? Absolutely not. But I thought I would show you guys, just so you know what people are using in their meta decks. Now, this one's really interesting, and I'm sure you guys have seen it a million times. It's from Twilight Masquerade, Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. This one is an ending game card. Blood Moon, used by this Pokemon, costs an energy less for each prize card your opponent has taken. That's why it's like an end of game attack. So if your opponent is winning and has taken 5 prize cards, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this attack is free. You don't need any energy to use Blood Moon, which is 240 damage, and this is fantastic. I love this card. But will my 8-year-old be able to understand that this is an ending game card and not use it in the beginning or the middle of the game? Even with me helping, I feel like she's going to get really excited that there's an EX in the deck, and she's going to be like, let's put him out there. And that's going to be a problem, because if she puts him out there on this first turn, his retreat cost is 3. Now, if she has Latias out there, then there's no retreat cost and there's no problem. However, we can't guarantee that, and I'm not sure how she's going to do with this card in her deck. So, I'm thinking no, but it is a really good card to put in decks normally. So, there are other cards we might want to consider, like Prism Energy. This is a newer one. This is actually from Black Bolt. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides colorless energy. If this card is attached to a basic Pokemon, this card provides every type of energy, but provides only 1 energy at a time. So this is great if you're using it on a basic Pokemon. However, remember that when you evolve the Pokemon, it no longer counts as that type of energy. So this would work best on like those basic EXs. So we'll have to see. We also have the Pokemon tools. My daughter wants more Pokemon tools. She wants to be competitive. And also there are trainers that will allow her to search for her Pokemon tools. This one's new too. This one's from White Flare. So we didn't know about this one before. Brave Bangle. If a Pokemon this card is attached to doesn't have a rule box, which most of hers do not, the attacks it uses do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX before applying weakness and resistance. I mean, that's something that she probably wants. We also have Energy Retrieval. Put up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. That's helpful. Even though she does have a lot of energy cards. We'll have to see. And then this one's new too. It's also from Black Bolt. End's Plan. Move up to 2 energy from your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. This might be really helpful because she tends to put energy kind of anywhere. She does know how to play the game, but it is still a big strategy game for an 8-year-old girl. And then Hilda, she's also new in White Flare. Search your deck for an evolution Pokemon, an energy card, and an energy card. Reveal them, put them in your hand, then shuffle your deck. I like this one because she struggles to find her evolution Pokemon. I think this one would be good. So I think we're definitely going to be putting that one in. And then I thought we would just upgrade. I have a bunch of Draytons. So like she already has 3 Draytons. We'll just like upgrade one of her regular ones with a full art just for fun. So we're getting somewhere. We've got some cards to kind of substitute in there. We also have a box, a special box. This was actually like the IF 2.0 box, but it's super sick. It's got like the magnetic. And look at that. So this is where I'm keeping all of my special trainers right now. These are all out of rotation or older, vintage, whatever, or Sword and Shield. So we can't use any of those. TCG has rotation. So after a while, certain cards will not be playable anymore and certain cards will come into rotation. So all the cards that are in there don't work anymore. You can't use them. One of the ones I think would be really good is Penny. And of course this one has an Umbreon in it. Put one of your basic Pokemons and all attached cards into your hand. This is great if you want to open up a spot on your bench or your active Pokemon's about to get knocked out. You can use Penny to pick it up, put it back in your hand, and you can start all over later. All your damage goes away too, which is fantastic. Buddy Buddy Poffin, this is more of like an upgradable because she already has 3 Buddy Buddy Poffin in there. Professor Turo's scenario is close to Penny, only you put one of your Pokemon in play into your hand and discard all energies attached. So Penny is for basic, Professor Turo's for any evolution, but you have to discard them. She just doesn't have that many evolution Pokemon, so I don't think Professor Turo's research is the gameplay here. We have Technical Machine Evolution. This one might be good though. Choose up to 2 of your bench Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, search your deck for a card that evolves from that Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it, then shuffle your deck. That was a really wordy way of saying evolve 2 of your bench Pokemon. And this one has the Play Pokemon stamp on it, so obviously it's an upgrade. And I think we're gonna let her use it. I think this would be really helpful because, like I said, she has a problem trying to get her Pokemon evolved and ready to go, and this is a really good way to set up early in the game. Cypher Maniac's code breaking is probably not going to help us. Scorching, Charcoal, and Sunseed definitely not going to help us. Moonlight Hill will not. So these will all not help us. Lily's Pearl is interesting because we would only want to use it if we have Lily's Clefairy in our deck. If the Lily's Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack of your opponent's Pokemon, that player takes 1 fewer prize cards. So that would be great, but do we really want to use one of our 60 card slots for that? I'm not sure. I think if we were more based around Clefairy, then maybe. This one's good. During this turn, attacks used by your Pokemon do 40 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX before applying weakness and resistance. This one is good. I like this one. I think we already were talking about something like this though, but let's put him in there. He's the Pokeball version from Prismatic Evolutions. Explorer's Guidance. Larry's Skill. I like him too. Discard your hand and search your deck for a Pokemon, a supporter card, and a basic energy card. Reveal them, put them in your hand, shuffle your deck. I think if she's trying to get rid of some of Professor's research, I think this one would be really good if she doesn't like her hand, because this at least allows her to search for specific cards that she would like, and I think she'll really like this one. So I think we're definitely going to be putting that one in. Again, Cypher Maniac's code breaking is not going to help. We have no Ogre Pawns, more Drayton Full Arts. You know what? She's got one full art. She's fine. I don't think any... So Countercatcher might be good. It's like the item version of Boss's Orders, but she has to be behind in prize cards. Honestly, she's probably easily behind in prize cards. This might not be a bad idea. I think I like that a lot. We don't want Enhanced Hammer. So this is the other aspect that I was thinking of. Usually Hero's Cape is not going to be my go-to. The Pokemon this card is attached to gets 100 HP. However, the reason I think this would be really good in this deck specifically is because when Grimmsnarl EX comes out and his ability is used, if Morpeko's out on the field and you're powering up Morpeko, it does great damage, but it only has 70 HP. It's only a matter of time, probably the next turn it's going to get knocked out, which is unfortunate. So if we put Hero's Cape on there, and Morpeko has 170 HP, that might be really helpful. There is another version of this card that's not an A-Spec, which is, I think we have it in here actually. There it is, which is Luxurious Cape. It's not an A-Spec. I do have it as a gold card. If the Pokemon this card is attached to doesn't have a rule box, so Morpeko, it gets 100 plus HP. And if it's knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, that player takes 1 more prize card. So that becomes an issue. Yes, it works for Morpeko because it doesn't have a rule box. It's not an EX. However, if it gets knocked out, it takes 1 extra prize card. So instead of Morpeko being 1 prize, it's going to be 2 prizes. Hero's Cape, it doesn't take an extra prize card. However, it takes the space for your A-Spec. So what do we want to do? I'm not sure. Because there's so many good A-Specs, I'm kind of leaning towards the Luxurious Cape. But I don't want her to lose more prize cards on 170 HP. So I'm just not sure. She also can't use it on Grimmsnarl EX, but she can use the Hero's Cape. That is a really tricky question. I'm not sure what we want to do there. So let me think about that for a second. We also have other A-Specs like Legacy Energy. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, provides only 1 energy at a time. If this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, that player takes one fewer prize card. This effects of your legacy energy can't be applied more than once per game. So you can only use it once. You can't take it out of your discard and use it again. But basically, if this was attached to Marnie's Morpeko and it got knocked out with 70 energy or 70 HP, your opponent wouldn't take any prize cards. But that's your one ace spec. So it's which one do you want to use? I don't think maximum belt's the way to go. Secret box would be good. However, I don't know how she's gonna decide on what 3 cards to discard in order to do it. So I think that Larry's skill is a much better idea than that. Precious Trolley might be a good idea though. I do like Precious Trolley. If she gets it early enough in the game, search your deck for any number of basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. It's a huge accelerator to start your game if you can find Precious Trolley early. And you can just put as many basic Pokemon as you want. And this is very basic Pokemon heavy. And I'm kind of leaning towards using Precious Trolley. I kind of really, really like that one. There's Sparkling Crystal, but she doesn't have any Terra Pokemon in this deck, so that's not going to help us. Grand Tree is good in some decks, probably not in this one. Deluxe Bomb, if the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack, put 12 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Yeah, it could be better. Heal 150 damage. For an ace spec, it could be better. So I don't think we want to use that. This one, Beach Court, the retreat cost of each Pokemon in play is 1 energy less. Well, if we have Latias, it's free and it's only for ours, so I think that's way better. We already have the Artisan we were talking about. And then Jubilife Village, I think it's called. Once during each player's turn, that player may shuffle their hand in their deck and draw 5 cards. If they do, their turn ends. I don't know. And then some of these would be nice, but you know what? I think we're good with the regular ones for now, especially because these are So I think these are probably we have a lot of options, honestly. And I think I like going for the Precious Trolley over the Hero's Cape because she's gonna want to accelerate her basic Pokemon and get herself set up pretty early in the game. And instead of Hero's Cape, we do have a Luxurious Cape. So I think that's what we're gonna do. And you know what? We're just gonna test this out and see how it goes. We can always modify after, but we're gonna see how she does in League with whatever we decide here. So I think these two are gonna be really good. This helps with the Pokemon tools that she wants. We're going to put the ace spec in there and help accelerate those basic Pokemon and get her set up early in the game. I think Larry's skill is going to be a good substitute for one of those professor's researches, so we can take that out, put Larry's skill in. And then we have all of these over here that we can work with. So we have Counter Catcher, which I think is going to be a really good one for her. She's almost always behind on prize cards. Black Bell's Training. During this turn, attacks used by your Pokemon do 40 more damage. For a supporter, you can only use 1 supporter per turn. It might not be worth it, but still a decent one. I do think that Technical Machine Evolution will be a good idea because it will we'll get her set up and she can start evolving her Pokemon. So I think we should stick with that. This one, I like Hilda, but I think Larry's... Yeah, I don't know. We'll hold off on that. Now, do we want to add Lily's Clefairy? Is the question. I feel like in the meta, there's going to be a lot of dragon Pokemon. I'm not sure. I don't know. I do think Fezandipity is a no-brainer. I think we're definitely going to be adding Fezandipity into it. No shot, definitely. See, Prime Catcher would also be a really good ace spec. I think we're gonna stick with boss's orders. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna stick with boss's orders. Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX, I think she wants a third one, and I think that's also a no-brainer, just to get those out there, because that's gonna be your main attacker. We want that. Normally in a competitive setting, you probably don't need 3 of those EXs, but she's still a newer player, and I think it's gonna help a lot if she does. I think this Latias is gonna be huge, because your Pokemon in play have no retreat cost, and that's gonna help a lot for her. So I think we're gonna stick with the Latias. Now, the question is, I think it's gonna be between, do we want to put Artisan in there or the 2 Monkey Dories? So, if we have the Precious Trolley, do we need the Artisan? That is the question. Because the Artisan is going to help both sides. The opponent can also search their deck for a basic Pokemon each turn. I don't know if she wants to give them an advantage, and you already have Precious Trolley, which helps only you, which is great. However, there's a chance you don't find Precious Trolley. These are the decisions we need to make. I think we're going to stick with the Precious Trolley. We're going to skip on the Artisan for now. And I think we're going to do the 2 Monkey Dories. I think Monkey Dory would be really, really helpful. Okay. I like this so far. I do. I like this. And with these choices, although, you know, if you had Psychic Energy, you could use Latias. You don't need Psychic Energy. Latias should really just be on your bench. Same with Monkey Dory. Just on your bench. You don't need Psychic Energy. So, that means that we do not need to put in different energy into this deck. So, that is helpful. Now, we have now added... How many cards? How many cards have we added? Now, for the one Larry's skill, we did take out a Professor's Research, so that doesn't count. But we're trying to add in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards. Now, when we put in a Drayton, we could take out a Drayton. So really, we have... Oh, we forgot Countercatcher. Oh no. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That means we need to take out 9 cards out of here. Okay. So here's where it gets hard. When you are setting up your deck, this is a pre-constructed deck. You think these all work together, this is great, but you want to make it better, right? And she's played with this deck a couple of times and told me what she likes, what she doesn't like, and what she wants to see more of. So 9 is going to be difficult because that is a good portion of the deck. You only get 60 cards. So while Monkey Dory will be really, really helpful, it is not a deal breaker. So I think 1 Monkey Dory will do instead of 2. So let's knock it down to 8. So now Countercatcher, I think we can use that instead of a Boss's Order because we want more item cards than we do supporters. So let's put in the Countercatcher because it does the same thing. For Latias, oh man, this is tough. Oh, okay, so I guess what we have to do is what's most important. So most important is going to be this Precious Trolley. Personally, please tell me in the comments if you guys think that there were other cards we could have put in here, if there was a more important card to put in here. I think Pheasant Dippy would be like a close second, but I think Precious Trolley, we want that ace spec in there to make this a little bit more competitive. So Precious Trolley, when we put this in, we can probably take out probably one of the rare candies, honestly. I think 3 rare candies is pretty crazy when you only have one evolution line that can use it. So let's take one of those out. Okay, so now we want, I think Pheasantipity is going to be the next most important. That one's going to be really key if she has any of her little basic baby Pokemon knocked out, which is probably going to be often. She wants to flip the script and be able to draw 3 cards so she can find things easily. So Pheasantipity goes in. Precious Charlie is definitely going to be over here. It's more of an item. Pheasantipity goes in, so what comes out? Probably a... Oh, man. Okay, so if we put in Pheasantipity, I think we're going to take out a Buddy Buddy Poffin. I think Buddy Buddy Poffin is great, but I think 2 should be fine. Oh, I might regret that. I don't know. All right, we'll see. We're going to put in Luxurious Cape. We definitely need for Marnie's Morpeko, so we're going to put that one in. And I think we're going to take out the experience share. So we have another tool. I think we're going to put in the technical machine evolution. I think that's going to be super helpful in trying to evolve Pokemon. And so we will take out another one of the professor's research because I think she said she only wants 2. I'm trying to follow her guide as much as possible. So now we have 2 tools. And we took out the other one because she didn't like it very much. Okay. So now we have 3 Pokemon. Oh, man. I think we're going to put in Palladius so that there is no retreat cost. Now, Morpeko does not have any retreat cost. But I'm pretty sure all of the rest of them do. Yeah, they do. So let's put in Latias EX. I think that's going to be super helpful for her so she doesn't have to try and like discard her energy. And honestly, because she doesn't have to discard her energy, I think we're going to get rid of an energy. Because she has 14 and I don't think she needs that many. Monkey Dory. I honestly think Monkey Dory is going to help so much. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I think we're going to put in Monkey Dory. And, okay, so here's the question. Do we take out Drayton or an Ultra Ball? We have 3 Draytons and 4 Ultra Balls. But Drayton is a supporter. Ultra Ball is an item. So Drayton, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal a Pokemon and a trainer card you find there and put them into your hand, then shuffle the cards into your deck. I think we're going to take out a Drayton. Ultra Ball is just too good of a card. We need that. I think we need all like 4 Ultra Balls, honestly. Yeah, okay. And then lastly, we want to add the 3rd Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. Again, do you really need 3 EXs for this evolution line? Probably not. Does my 8-year-old? Probably yes. So we want to make this deck competitive, but we also want to make it work for her. And the way it's going to work for her is if she has the best chance of pulling out her Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. And normally, I would take out one of these Marnie's Morgrums. I think that's what we're going to do because we do have 2 rare candies. Yeah. We're going to trade for Grimmsnarl EX and we're going to take out one of Marnie's Morgrums. Again, do you want more of the stage 2 than you have stage 1? No, but you can if you have rare candies. So let's make sure we have 60 cards in our deck. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. Okay, so I think we've actually created a deck that my daughter would be proud of and excited about. So let me put these all into our winning Journey Together and Zoroark sleeves. And I will show you what the final deck looks like before we compete in League on Tuesday night. Let's go. Okay, so now that we have kind of substituted all those cards that we're taking out, and with our new cards that we've decided to put into the deck and re-sleeve them into our beautiful Ends Zoroark sleeves from Journey Together ETB, which I think are pretty sick. This is what we've come up with, and I will say that Zorua and Ends Zoroark did absolutely cross my mind, but for some odd reason, I do not have any Ends Zoroark EXs that are not an SIR, Full Art, or Gold. I don't know where all of my basic Ends Zoroark EXs are, but I can't find them. So unfortunately, we can't use the Zorua and the Ends Zoroark. Like, I have Zorua sitting right here, like ready to go, but I couldn't find them. So I am a little curious as to how this deck would work with Zorua and Ends Zoroark. I think it might be really good, and we might have to try that on another day to see. But I gotta find some basic Ends Zoroark EXs. But for now, we do have 60 cards. We ended up with 13 Dark Energies, 4 Marnie's Impidimps, 2 Marnie's Morgrums, 3 Marnie's Grimmsnarl EXs, and then we've added in some more EXs. We've got Latias EX, which is going to sit on our bench, so our Pokemon have no retreat cost. Pheasantipity EX, which is going to be our great utility card with the Flip the Script. We have 2 of Marnie's Purloin, 2 of Marnie's Lightbird, 2 of Marnie's Scraggy, and 1 of Marnie's Scrafty. 1 Monkey Dory, which is also going to sit on our bench with a Dark Energy and be able to move 30 damage from our Pokemon to the opponent's Pokemon if we have any on us. Marnie's Morpeko, we have 2 copies of, including this amazing promo, which is the whole point of the deck. It's so cute. We have 4 copies of the Ultra Ball, where you discard 2 cards and you search your deck for any Pokemon that you want, which is probably the best card you can use in this deck. 2 Buddy Buddy Poffins, which allows you to choose 2 basic Pokemon that are 70 HP or less from your deck. Switch allows you to switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon for you, not your opponent. Precious Trolley is going to be our 1 spec, where you can search your deck for as many basic Pokemon as you want and put them out on your bench. Obviously, you can only have up to 5 on your bench, so up to 5. Luxurious Cape is going to be that Pokemon tool that we're going to use for Marnie's Morpeko, where it gives it 100 extra HP so that it can last a little bit more than 1 turn, because it gets pretty powerful and accelerated from Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. And then the other Pokemon tool is going to be that Technical Machine Evolution, which allows her to choose 2 of her bench Pokemon to evolve. Usually use that in early game, so it will get her started, because she struggles to get her Pokemon evolved. Professor's Research, we knocked it down to 2, where you discard your entire hand and draw 7 cards. And we substituted 1 of them for Larry's Skill, where you discard your hand and search your deck specifically for a Pokemon, a supporter card, and a basic energy card. Reveal them, put them into your hand. I love that. Boss's Orders, which is her favorite card, so I couldn't get rid of it altogether, but we did keep 1 copy of it, where you order your opponent to switch their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. 2 copies of Iona, where both players will shuffle their hand and put it at the bottom of their deck, and then draw for as many prize cards as they have remaining. Drayton, where you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, you reveal a Pokemon and a trainer card, and put these in your hand and shuffle your deck. We did upgrade to 1 of the full arts just to be a little spicy. We have 2 copies of the Stadium Spikemuth Gym. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a Marnie's Pokemon, reveal it, put in their hand, and shuffle their deck. The good news is that she's very unlikely to play against another Marnie's deck. Could she? Maybe, but if she did, they probably have the Stadium anyways, so it's not something that's gonna like help the other player without, you know, them already thinking about it. We have 2 copies of Rare Candy, so we can get that Grimmsnarl EX out, but that's really all it's helping, so I didn't think that 3 copies were necessary. 2 is probably fine. We have Energy Recycler. Shuffle up to 5 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. The only reason I kept that, even though we have 13 dark energies, is because Grimmsnarl EX accelerates 5 energy at a time. So you might need to recycle that as well. Super Rod, you can shuffle in up to 3 in any combination of Pokemon and energies back into your deck from your discard pile, so that's super helpful. And then Counter Catcher is going to be the item version of Boss's Orders, but you can only use it if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, meaning your opponent is winning and you're behind. So you want to use this during that time, and it will basically use the same as Boss's Orders, but Boss's Orders is supporter, you can only use 1 per turn. So that kind of opens it up a little bit more for her. She's got her extra EXs. She's got a couple of extra tools. She has that A-Spec that's going to help a lot. She has those tools that's going to help Marnie's Morpeko be just a little bit more powerful. We took out some of those professor's researches that she didn't want it and substituted for something that might be a little bit more beneficial for her. And I think this is going to work out really well. So if you guys like this kind of video, please let me know. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below. We have just hit 3,000 hours. Woo! So we will hopefully be starting membership soon, and we are on our way to those 4,000 hours for monetization. So thank you all very much for your support, and if you're new here, welcome in. I hope you enjoy. But we will be going to our league night for Junior League on Tuesday. We will be recording how she does in those battles. I will be recording the battle as long as they let me, and we'll have that video out next Sunday, so keep your eyes out. But in the meantime, we will be streaming on Friday nights and Sunday nights with old school Nintendo 64 and Nintendo Switch games. So thank you guys so much. If you like more content like this, make sure you click on one of the end screen videos here. Thank you all very much, and have a wonderful day.